Hey gamers, this is Rockcock64. You probably know me from The Best Gamers, and you've probably seen my most popular review, my Minecraft review, which has over 88,000 views at the point of recording this. It's recently come to my attention that when I reviewed Minecraft, it wasn't a fully finished game. It was actually in an alpha state and not yet done. My review has also been criticized for being far too opinionated and not having enough objective fact about the game. Minecraft has recently come out this month of November as a fully finished game ready for full online retail. Since it's no longer an alpha state and it's now complete and ready for gameplay, I'll give it a proper full review. Minecraft is an adventure sandbox game where you explore an endlessly randomly generated world. Mining, building, fighting, adventuring, exploring, doing all sorts of things you do in sandbox games. The entire Minecraft world is made up of blocks, essentially voxels, used to make up the randomly generated terrain. Following suit, all the items and mobile entities in the game are also very cubic. Let's talk about the game's graphics, as graphics are the first thing you notice about a game when you first see it. Minecraft follows a retro-style graphics approach. Everything is textured with a very low-res texture, and if it's not a 3D object, it's a 2D sprite. It's definitely understandable that Minecraft uses this graphic style, as the large voxels that make up the world would not look very attractive with modern, realistic textures. Minecraft's graphics consist mostly of what some people would call programmer graphics. Programmer graphics are images put in place in the game that are meant to be temporary, to allow the programmer to advance the game's engine along. Later in the game's development cycle, these graphics will be replaced by proper graphics done by the game's artists. However, in Minecraft's case, they kept the programmer art, and late into the game, brand new graphics for new features were still being drawn by the game's main programmer, Notch. You have to understand, Notch is not an artist. If you look at his previous programming projects, you'll understand this. But even after putting together a team to work on Minecraft, he never picked an artist and set him out to pull together the game's retro graphics style. Instead, they stuck with the programmer graphics until the release. This isn't acceptable. The game is ugly. Notch uses retro graphics as an excuse for his game to have bad graphics. I don't feel this is proper. The games that you remember as classics from the past all had beautiful graphics. They took full advantage of the hardware and gaming platforms that they were developed for. Yeah, there were some ugly games back then, but you don't remember most of those as classics. I feel it's almost an insult to these old games to call Minecraft a retro graphic game. You could say that my examples don't apply to retro 3D gaming, but if you look at the classics of early 3D gaming, you'll see that none of them were ever just blocks with textures on them. They always tried to be as realistic and push the hardware as much as they could. Minecraft in the end doesn't try to push anything, other than your wallet, into Notch's hands. The game's sound is acceptable. It gets the job done. Things sound like what you'd expect them to sound like. Some of the enemies sound a little on the weak side, but for the most part, there's nothing bad with the sounds. The music's fine. You can listen to it without getting annoyed by it. There's an option to turn it off, but I've never been bothered by the music enough to do so. Overall, the sounds are average. Now we get down to the core of any game, the gameplay. I'm going to start with what's good about Minecraft's gameplay. It controls like a first-person game. You use the mouse to look around and WSAD to move. Building and removing blocks is also very simple. You either left-click and hold to destroy or right-click to place. You even have a little highlight feature to show which block you're about to place another block on top of. It works simple, and that's the end of the good part of Minecraft's gameplay. Now for the bad. Being an adventure game, Minecraft of course has combat. Combat is extremely simple, easy, and boring in Minecraft. You click on an enemy, and if they're close enough, they'll take damage, according to the kind of sword you're holding. If an enemy gets close to you, you'll take damage. They won't do an attack animation, though. You can block, but without attack animations, you won't really know when to do it, other than gauging how close they are to you. Minecraft's combat is extremely boring. The only special technique you have is to attack while you're coming down from a jump. There's no other techniques, there's no other advancement, there's no anything. It's as it looks, and it's boring. This problem is worsened by the game's AI, though I find it hard to call it AI because there really isn't much intelligence in this game's enemies. Enemies in this game will walk straight towards you in a straight line. If there's a wall between you and the enemy somehow, then they won't be able to get to you because the game has no pathfinding. This applies to friendly creatures as well. There's dogs in the game that you can tame. However, it's not worth taming them because their AI is just as bad as the enemy's AI. They'll often push you off ledges or just fall into lava and holes and are otherwise just a pain to maintain. Keep in mind, this is the release of Minecraft, the finished game. And this isn't even the worst example of it. Let me give you the worst example of this game's AI. Minecraft has NPC villages. If you wander around the world long enough, you'll eventually come across a generated village. In these villages, you have NPCs. The NPCs have no names. You can't interact with them in any positive way. Right-clicking does nothing. You can't talk to them. You can't offer them items. The only thing you can do is attack them. If you attack an NPC, they won't react. If you attack an NPC, other NPCs won't react. They won't make any sound. If you kill an NPC, they don't drop anything. If you take apart an NPC's house, they won't react. If you dump an NPC in a hole, they won't react. If an NPC is surrounded by enemies, they won't react. Furthermore, the enemies won't attack the NPC, as almost no creatures in the game respond to each other. There's absolutely no reason for these things to be in the game, as they do nothing and add literally nothing to the game. Once again, I'd like to remind you, this is the fully finished Minecraft. This is what they are calling the release version. Fully functional NPC AI is one of the many features that Notch promised for the release of the game and failed to deliver on. Amongst these other unfulfilled promises are a legitimate way to obtain sponge, wool regrowth on sheep, which is kind of important since they don't spawn after initial world gen anymore, cocoa bean trees, which is also kind of important since right now they can only be obtained in dungeons, making them a limited resource. Not that they aren't pointless considering all the other food items in the game that have the same effect, but capture the flag mode, which would have added some much needed gameplay to Minecraft. And 30 other things that I'm not even gonna bother to list off. And most importantly, a modding API, which was abandoned in an attempt for Notch to make even more money by licensing off the source code. In the last few months of Minecraft's development, rather than adding in brand new features like Notch had been during the entire beginning of the development, Notch had resorted to adding in features from mods that its users have developed. At this point, it had become clear that Notch was unable to move his game forward on his own, and instead had to rely on his user base to put the game into a semi-playable state. Of course, in the end, the scatterbrained approach of adding these mods didn't work out, and you get a game that goes in many different directions. This is a finished game.
So yeah, here's a classic. Here's a fan favorite. I'm gonna remember this cool glitch. Oh, look at that! Oh, wait a minute. This is the final version, right? Okay, well, let's see if it's still... Okay. It still works good. Alright. Alright. Excellent. Final version, everybody. This is... Dude, I'm not playing 1.8 or 1.9 or the pre-release. Final version. Wow. That's fun. Wow, look at this. What am I gonna do with all this? Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with all this? You're tricky chicky. You're tricky chicky. You're chicky chicky. Yeah, final version, everybody. Final release. This is the version that is going on Xbox.
Starting off in Minecraft, the first thing you'll want to do after building a house is to mine. You'll want to go into the earth and collect the minerals contained within. Unfortunately, there's only a handful of minerals in the game, and you can easily get the rarest, diamond, within an hour. Exploring the world, you'll see the game's various biomes that the game has to offer. They range from snowy to plains, savannas to swamps. They tend to have very abrupt, ugly transitions between them, but it's a pretty cool concept. Once you find one of these special dungeons that contain items you need to advance towards the game's end, you'll have to navigate them. They are extremely boring and barren. They contain enemies and treasure chests. The treasure chests either contain items that you can much more easily craft on your own, or other items that are used for crafting special items that aren't really that special because there's much easier items to obtain that do the same job. For example, the previously mentioned cocoa beans, which can be used to make cookies, which are pointless because there's plenty of other food items in the game that don't require you to loot a dungeon to make. Speaking of food, the game's food system works like this. Your character has a hunger bar. As you eat food, the hunger bar fills up. When it's close to being full, you regenerate health. The game also features poisonous food such as zombie flesh and raw chicken. When you eat them, you get poisoned and start to lose health. However, if you just continue to eat the poisoned item until your hunger bar is full, you'll regenerate health anyway. This doesn't make sense. There's no reason for there to be a poisoned food feature if just continuing to eat the poisoned food will heal you anyway. Once again, this is the fully finished version of Minecraft. Once you have enough of the items needed to advance towards the game's end, you build a portal and are transported to an ending world. This world consists of entirely the game's most difficult enemies and a final boss enemy, which is a dragon. The final boss is only difficult because of its high health and because of these regenerating health towers that you have to perform an extremely obnoxious task of climbing and putting out to prevent him from regenerating his health. He's artificially difficult because of his health. The game's not actually able to make a unique or difficult boss because of how simple the combat is. The only thing you can do to really fight it is shoot arrows at it. After you beat the boss, you have nothing left to do in the game but build, really. Usually people do it on multiplayer servers, they build towns and stuff together. I don't see the appeal. People use the game to socialize and build things out of blocks, and there's plenty of other ways to socialize with your friends that are much more entertaining than Minecraft.
Any game is fun with friends, idiot.
The game's single player is so lacking in content that you'll likely tire of it within a week. And unless you actually do have some form of autism, you'll likely tire of the multiplayer pretty quickly once you realize there's plenty better games to play with your friends. If you've paid attention to my reviews so far, or even played Minecraft for a few minutes, you'll know that the game has problems and imperfections. This alone should tell you that any website that rates the game a 10 out of 10 should not be trusted. Let's not even mention any website that would go around covering the game's convention religiously and making teaser videos about the score that it will give the game. By the way, if you just can't wait to see IGN's inevitable 10 out of 10 score for Minecraft, text Creeper to 60379 to be alerted of their Minecraft news alerts every second. Hey gamers, it's time to talk about Minecon! Oh boy! This won't be embarrassing for everyone involved. So somewhere approaching Minecraft's release, Notch decided he wanted another vacation to have a convention to celebrate the game's release. So he fired up his blog and asked everyone if they wanted to go to a Minecraft convention for $90. Everyone said no, so he upped the price to $140. While I don't deny that even a week leading up to Minecraft's release it still needed a lot of work, I don't think the funding from this convention went into the game's production at all. But that's just me. So what kind of cool Minecraft related things did Notch have to talk about during Minecon? Scrolls! You know, the collectible trading card game he's making for your computer, where you pay him microtransactions to have fake cards on the computer. Surely people are interested in this because it's a great idea, and not just because Notch made it. Let's not be silly here. It's clearly it'll be great. Please give Notch more money, please. No, don't do that. So what other cool Minecraft-related things went down at this convention? Well, it seems they invited over the biggest, most popular Minecraft channel on YouTube, the Yogscast. That's a good move, that would make sense. Wonder what they did. Oh, apparently they claimed they were the reason that Minecraft is big, and that they should be thanked more than anyone else in the community. And they called Notch and his team a bunch of nerds who don't know how to properly run a company. Well, for that, I congratulate the Yogscast for putting that fat Swedish loser in his place. Good job. Even though you are just a bunch of guys who make Minecraft videos on YouTube. Good job anyway. There was also a rumor that they may have cursed in front of children. Heaven forbid British comedians curse. Well, at least we know Notch's team of Mojang would never say naughty words in front of the kids.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh.
It's easy to die in this game because
Once again, this is a fully finished... If Minecraft had gone in a more gameplay RPG-centric direction, it could have been a genuinely fun game. Maybe it could have had dungeons generated in more of a Diablo style with special human-designed pieces linked together randomly. It could have had gear, special gear, all kinds of gear with special effects on it you can only find in these dungeons. It could have had NPCs that you could actually communicate with, trade the items you found in the dungeons, or even trade all the ore that you stopped mining because you have so much of it. There's all sorts of directions Minecraft could have gone in that would have made it a genuinely fun game. Instead, it went in multiple directions, but only a step or two, without ever really committing. People praise Notch for his innovation in gaming, but if you look back at the history of Minecraft, you'll see, and Notch will admit himself, that he was basing it off a previous game in the first place. And if you look back on Notch's previous projects, you'll also see that they were all based on previously existing games. In reality, Notch did very little, if anything at all, to innovate gaming in the slightest. And yet he won an award for it. Congrats, Notch! Make sure you check out Notch's YouTube channel, where you can see all his cool videos of him holding his work up to the camera for 5 whole minutes. Overall, I can't recommend Minecraft to anyone. Not for its current $30 retail price, not for its old $13 alpha price, not for $6.99 on the App Store with significantly less features, not for free. Oh man, that review was kinda lame. I didn't really like doing that. I think for my next review I'm gonna go back to the old style of doing things. I can't keep doing things like this. I gotta go back to how things were before. What's my next review anyway? Let me pull up the list here. Oh.